Alright guys, welcome back to Yoast Built. This is a video that has been long in the making. If you guys have been following the Yoast Built Facebook page, you guys seen that I actually had this car on the dyno already. I tuned it, 25 pounds of boost, we made 530 wheel horsepower, and then I got an onslaught of inboxes asking questions about the car, what it is, what's done to it, and basically how I made 530 horsepower out of a 1991 Dodge Spirit. So this is going to be a short intro video of what the car is, what's done to it, the build, and then I'm going to actually retune it because the first time I tuned it and posted those dyno results on the Facebook page, it was about 80 degrees outside, and it's 52 degrees outside today. And I have an event this weekend that we plan on racing at that I want to make the debut pass in this car on low boost and to see what it runs. As you guys know, I already hold the record for the fastest Spirit at 11:30 at 124 miles an hour with trailer park. This car is literally the same thing, just reincarnated. So trailer park was a 93 Plymouth Highline. It was like the base model, nothing done to it. This is literally the fanciest model of Dodge Spirit they ever came out with. This is a 1991 Dodge Spirit RT. So it came with a factory 2.2 liter T3 motor, which was like a Lotus design cylinder head, a bunch of fancy stuff. Made 224 horsepower from the factory, and it was kind of the fastest car at that point in time that came out. What we have done to it is pretty much everything. So this car, as you see, has patina. You can see all the rust and everything. We get tons of questions about it, of why are you building a rusty car? Well, this is a Florida car. There's actually no rust on the floorboards. The underneath of this car is mint. This car literally doesn't have holes in it or anything. This is all just surface rust. We get that question all the time, why are you building a car that looks like that? Trailer park, on the other hand, I could literally stick my foot through the floor and I was making 11-second passes in that car. The track officials actually were the ones that asked me not to race it anymore. I could have went even faster, but then I finally hurt the motor. So that car was actually really unsafe. This car is the opposite. This car has all polyurethane bushings in the front suspension. It has 17 by 8 inch RPF ones. It has coilover front suspension, has new rear suspension shocks. Like literally this car has everything done to it. Now the thing that everyone wants to know, alright, so the biggest question with the car is, what is the setup? So this is a 2004 PT GT long block. This came out of the junkyard, out of a PT Cruiser, and when it was originally in trailer park, it was 100% stock. We had never changed anything. We didn't even pull the valve cover off this thing. We just put a 20G eBay turbo on it and gave it all the boost. It had around 33 pounds of boost to set that record pass, and now it's completely different. It has a set of eagle rods in it, JE pistons in it. It has a forward motion ported cylinder head. It has I think 1 millimeter over intake valves, 1 millimeter over exhaust valves. It has micro squirt ECU, Audi R8 coils. It has a full breather setup. This is a modified factory Srt-4 manifold with an old school style throttle body. It has an AGP turbo, s261. It's a s257 with a bigger housing to make it equivalent to like a s363. It's actually a 6161. It has a precision 46 millimeter gate, full 3-inch exhaust, and it actually has a muffler on the car. The car is still an E85. It has a Hellcat fuel pump, 1500cc snake eater injectors, and that's about it. Second gen neon radiator that we retrofitted into the car. And like I said, on the Facebook post, you guys seen it made 530 wheel. I literally had no control over the boost. It was just a T in the vacuum line. So today's basic overview is we're going to get to control of the boost. I added a wastegate spring, so we should have more spring pressure on gate. So we should make somewhere in the 350 horsepower range once I get the feeling where it needs to be. So let's get into the dyno pools. Hopefully you enjoy the video, and let's see if we can make 500 wheel again. Alright guys, so since the last time I had the car on the dyno, I kept running into this lean issue when I was driving on the street. I've taken it for 2 street drives, and I was going to make you guys a video on it, but as soon as I would roll into the gas, the car would just go stupid lean. I just pulled the fuel filter off. It has the sock in the tank, which has a little filter on it, and then it has one up by the rail, and I just pulled the rear fuel filter off, and you cannot literally blow through it. So what I just did is I pulled the little center cartridge out of it. It's one of those K-tuned ones with a little brass thing in the middle, or porous thing in the middle, and you could absolutely blow as hard as you want and nothing would go through it. So I've been modifying the tune so far. Got the air fuels to come down into like the 13s, but I couldn't get it to go any richer after adding about 40% of fuel. This car, like I said, has a Hellcat pump and 1550cc injectors, so there's no reason I should have to add, you know, 35-40% fuel to get the air fuels correct, when before, when I did a pull, there was no issues at all, and I was about 35-40% less fuel. So got the fuel filter out, we pulled the cartridge apart, pulled the centerpiece out, put it back together, so now it's just a connector at this point, but the car already has 2 other filters on it. So let's get the car temperature back up, try to do a pull. I'm gonna assume it's gonna be super rich, but it might actually make a pull to redline. So if the dyno pulls I've done so far, none of them have been to redline. I think the highest I got was like 6,300 RPMs before it went super lean. So we'll see what happens now. Alright guys, that will conclude the video. We probably, most likely, have the most powerful Dodge Spirit in the world at this point. 528 wheel horsepower at 26 pounds of boost. I want to give a shout out to Chris for coming out here to help me film. He's been behind the camera for the day. I would have done a video before, but I was in the shop by myself. It's kind of hard to video, dyno, and tune at the same time. So here she is, 1991 Dodge Spirit RT with an Srt-4 swap, s261 turbo, 528 wheel horsepower. And as you see, the power is not even dropping off. She is still climbing. She will take more, she will make more, but I want to get her to the track event this weekend. I don't want to blow her up on the dyno for no reason. So for this time, she's going to be a 530 horsepower car. Maybe in a later video, once I get some track passes in her and beat my own record of 1130, we'll turn her up some more, throw some timing at it. That's only 19 degrees of timing. The air fuels are 1130s, and it made 26 pounds of boost. So not bad for a piston and rod Srt-4 motor. I would say the biggest limitation is probably the stock style intake manifold. It's not ported or anything. The head's ported, everything else is kind of ported, but the intake manifold is still stock, non-ported, and it has the old school Turbo Dodge throttle body. So 528 wheel, letting off, still gaining power. Let's get her to the track this, I believe, Saturday, and see what we can do. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until the next one, you guys are the greatest.